scan them, to exhibit them. So these ones that are framed, most of them I've exhibited before. So after the exhibition, they just, I collect them, they come back to me, so I just keep them in storage, and now I just put them all out. But some, especially in the projection, the slideshow, a lot of the photos there I've never really exhibited before. And some of them are probably the oldest ones that I have, maybe 2001, 2000, 99, that's where I started really, 1999, when I got into school. So this is sort of a generalized exhibit of what I've just come up with for the past 10 years or so. 10, 12 years, 15 years.
I just want to know, how does I saw some sculptures of diagrams.
Okay.
How do they fit in? You mentioned...
It's still about photography. May drawings nga din. This is kind of the saling pusa. Yung parang, I just, parang an accent maybe, or sort of, kasi I primarily work with photography, but I also like to draw, into objects, sculpture. And those works, even if they are sculptural, they're still about photography. So that's why it's this is my culmination of my work. So I had to add my drawings and my paintings wala, and those sculptures. So actually in terms of my work, those are the kind of would veer away a little bit from pure photography. I have the sculptural element and the drawings. It's still about photography though. Ito hindi. So
yeah. So how do you relate your drawings to your photographs?
Malayo na. Well, just based on maybe my own exercise. It helps with my practice, visual art in general. So yun lang.
Are those small dinosaurs also covered with upstairs, the ones upstairs, are covered with photographs like the ones you showed in National Museum?
Yes.
What got you into photography?
Oo nga. Actually,
So did it just start out as
painting major, yeah. And I still sort of am attracted to it. In love with painting. Mas marami akong painting friends than photography friends. But getting into photography, I kind of I was in college then, and I bought my first camera then. And since then, at that time, I thought that I guess the instant gratification, of capturing a certain time and place. But then that's what I thought before. Photography is also, once you've already, let's say, taken the photo, of course you have to develop the film.
Would you consider your photography practice as a form of painting? Painting? Yeah, because these are not actual documentation, or they actually document a certain state. Ineffable state, somewhat. That's why there are pictures that are quite abstract.
Maybe my mode would be, but the end result would still be photo. Pero siguro yung how since painting would be a big influence, but it's still there. How I would compose and stuff like that.
So it's like taking pictures, but with a painterly attitude.
Approach, can be.
But somehow, it can be classified into categories like there's just flora and fauna, portraits, and abstract.
Yes. Actually, it's so varied. Actually, your work was. That's maybe one of the major criticisms about my works, that it's just so much different subject matter. But I prefer that. I actually think that it's healthier for photography to delve into so many different.
How do you choose? I mean, iba-iba yung time, yung years niya na kinuha mo. But like you said, sometimes you have a landscape, sometimes it veers towards abstraction. But I see a general thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you talk about that?
Siguro in terms of how I can choose, it's your conscious effort. I think is more, but at the moment, I'm compelled to get these photos. Wala akong sort of pattern or somewhat, but if you can see, parang even if they're so varied, some of them are, the way I compose, may pagka-formal, may pagka-similar, even if they are hindi parang subject matter very different.
Artist
Ano yan, parang in terms of, let's say, portraits, it's always, intimate portraits, friends, family.
You talk about the illicit subject.
What is your mindset when you take these photographs? Do you just do it instinctively?
Yes. Oh, kaya ganun, it's hard to say nga how I choose because it's based on intuition, based on instinct. And having the tool, siguro, having the tool of the camera will enable you to. Siguro, the more like this one, yung mga more abstract or again, sensibilities, my own sensibilities, let's say. But the more traditional approach that everyone else also can experience themselves, you know, para part of photography in a way. I still do think, and I still believe that it's important.
Photo ng photo paper.
Ito? These are bats. Bats. But tiny bats. Sa Longga po yan. Nagmamigrate na bats.
Akala ko photo ng paper.
If you see, pag wala, up close you'll see the dots. Kasi these are all friends and family. Ito, like landscapes, where I've traveled. They're very personal. So, wala kang makitang poverty dito or I don't know, fashion.
But you seem to represent a certain culture, no?
Sorry?
You seem to show a certain culture.
Or subculture?
Subculture. Skateboarding, punks, these are all my own interests as well. So, it's not something that I sought out to get. It's something that's part of me. So, parang my practice primarily, involves.
Why did you decide on coloring or painting on some of the photographs?
These are some of the these are the newest ones that I've worked on just this year, maybe a few months ago. When I knew September would be my exhibit here, I started doing them. These are old photos, maybe 2001, 2002, and they're black and white. I printed them actually, those two I printed. Maybe just to add another dimension on my work.
Parang the colored ones is something you'd see when you're on a acid trip.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's intentional in that sense?
You could say, yeah. Always naman I always, I guess, have this inclination for, psychedelics, trippy. To be honest, I really didn't know how it would end up when I started it. And then, when I finished, just patches of color. Pero what I chose first to do was actually the mosh pit scene, and then the landscapes. I think that working on those a little more traditional photos, and then adding the color, it's more of experiment, my own experiment, I guess. I've never tried it before. This is the first time.
And it's a very old tradition.
Yes, yeah.
To color photographs.
Hand
paint photographs.
They do it still now.
Before digital editing.
Yeah. Before colored film, they do this. then when color film came, less and less now.
And then why did you decide to mount some of the photographs? I don't know if it's just a tradition here to mount some photographs on wood, diba?
Well, it's just another form of framing that I came across with and tried out. You know, so any particular photo I could have mounted in this way, but it just so happened it's what I've done. You know, and I can do it again with other material.
But it's a practice only done during the 70s, 80s, diba? It's not done now.